Hi, and welcome to Amiti's third edition of Meet the Founder. I'm Ben Rabinowitz, founder and managing partner of Amiti. We are a venture capital fund. We invest in seed and A rounds. We like to help founders get started, build up their companies, scale up. We look for founders and teams that have real technology ingenuity, that are going after big markets at the right time. Today I'm really happy and excited to be here with Eran Shlomo. Eran, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Sure, enjoy the view.
It's an amazing view.
Yeah, you kind of took off from a very interesting background. So, by 9 you were farming and programming. By 11 you were driving a tractor. And by 13 you were an entrepreneur already, fixing PCs on a moshav up in the Golan. So quite an impressive start. Years later, you went to the Technion, and then you went to Intel, and you did great, and you were appreciated, and you were given autonomy, and you had strategic projects, and you were compensated so well. So what at that point was, after all those years, you were there for 13 years, that was driving you to say, hey, I want to do my own thing, I want to start a company, I want to be a founder, I want to start Dataloop. Like, take us through a little bit of that process.
Yeah, actually, you should ask why I stayed at Intel so long.
Okay.
I actually started at Intel because I had an idea of creating a safe internet for kids around the year 2000. And when I went to the Technion and met some folks and the Hamama of the Technion, the guy there told me that the whole beauty of the internet is its anonymity and it will never fly. I should go probably to do some real engineering work at Intel or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have a good idea, I should come back in a few years. So I listened to his advice and I dropped the Safe Kids, Internet for Safe Kids, and I went to the Technion and continued with the Technion and went to Intel. But what happened after 2 years or year or two at Intel, I kind of fell in love with the company. Intel, and I believe that all US tech corporates are like that. The spirit is amazing. You get to do things in the levels that you couldn't even imagine. And I find myself in a position where I'm kind of in a fulfilling, I would say, childhood dreams where, I used to fix PCs. Now I'm actually digging them all the way to the transistor level. And I couldn't quit. I couldn't quit Intel. And I was very successful at that. And I kind of progressed very fast. But at some point, I couldn't stay as employee anymore, and just when I finished my work with Startup, my previous startup, I said, okay, the next one is going to be my own, and I'm going to take it full time, and it's going to be about data, and that's kind of it. So right. I just jumped. Navi, my co-founder who came with me, he sent me the video. I remember that night where the title was Jump, so we jumped.
Great. So maybe explain a little bit, what is it that Dataloop is doing? What real problems or challenges are you solving, especially for the AI market? And why do you think that already you're the best, and as you move forward and migrate with your roadmap, that you will be the best in the market in solving these challenges and problems for customers?
Cool. So when we started Dataloop, when I'm planning ahead, I like to think like 5. Sometimes even more ahead, and trying to understand where the world is going. Because if you're planning a company, you need to ask yourself what the world will be. And there is I would say the most important word where we're going is automation. And if you ask yourself where the company is going, where Dataloop is going, we see ourselves as the supplier of cognitive applications or cognitive cloud capabilities. Now, going one step deeper, the ability to generate real AI or general artificial intelligence, as it's being called today, it's probably a decade away or even more. That means that today's applications are all about data. That means that we take a large amounts of data, and it's huge amounts of data, and then we add the human expertise into that. And you get machines that can copy or learn from the humans. So when the doctor marks a tumor on an MRI or a CT, it actually teaches the machine how a tumor looks like. The same goes with driver and traffic light, and the same goes with the farmer or a disease on the fruits or vegetables. And what Dataloop is doing, it's actually allowing our customers to manage the human expertise, many times referred to as the data labeling, with the large amounts of the raw data. essentially creating a true artificial or general intelligence, but we cheat. But this is how the AI industry works. We cheat in a way where we actually combine humans and machines together. And we're actually saying the future is not about machines replacing human. The future is about how do you combine them as a single fused unit. And this is exactly what Dataloop is doing, connecting the peoples and the machines over data.
So now you're off to a great start. You're generating nice revenues. Revenues are building. You've raised a nice chunk of money. So tell us, what are you looking when you're looking to recruit? And you're obviously very heavily in the recruiting phase now. What are you looking for in people?
I would say three things that are super important. The first one is you might call it as EQ, culture, people that connects well to the company. The company itself is, I'm sometimes in the past referred to as, we're kind of like kibbutz. This is the spirit, or kind of like kids building a camp. That means that there is a lot of bond, people working together, and that kind of sentiment is super important for us. The next thing is intelligence. We want to work with smart people. And the last thing is passion or motivation, if you'd like. These are three components that if you're not bringing them with you, we can't teach you that.
One of the other things that I so appreciate about you and your perspective is you really have an interest and a commitment to diversity in the workforce. So maybe share why is that important and why is that a good thing to pay attention to?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to diversity, I think that we need to fight for diversity because in our natural, we tend to be biased, right? We tend to hire people that think like us or that behave like us or even sometimes look like us. And what happens is that you're creating a very, I would say, a monolithic way of thinking or a monolithic set of skills. If you think about Dataloop itself, when I started the company and me and Avi went to the road, Avi is a very different person than I, right? But you as one of our leading investors should be happy Avi is handling all the billings and money because Avi is way better than that than me. Avi is way better than me than connecting and running operations. And the same goes for every one members of the team. So if I go to Nir just knows how to run a business and sales and build sales machines. So if I will bring only people like me, so what you would have in Dataloop is a bunch of people that are coding very fast in a very free spirit, probably don't care about sales, and it would be really hard to say who is doing what, right? Unorganized, etc., etc. And it goes for every team member. And when I'm hiring someone, I'm asking myself how this person can be the best I've ever seen something way better than me.
So where do you see Dataloop in 5 years from now, maybe even 10 years from now?
I think that the business is, the market has not started even. The company is built right, the product is right, everything looks right for good growth. And I would say with these market sizes, there is no reason for not building a really large company. And IPO looks like a path. When I say IPO, it kind of looks like a path for keeping the company and still allow, I would say, to finance the employees and the investors, etc. I'm not ruling out the fact that year, 2 years, 3 years. I wouldn't say now because just last week we got an acquisition question, and my simple, short, one-sentence answer: no, it's too early. Like, you want to sell? No, it's too early. I'm not even asking price. It's too early. But maybe 2-3 years from now, eventually this is going to be a large, very large business. We're in the data and in the AI, and we know the players there, right? There are a lot of big players there. So are we going to get within 2 to 3 years offer we shouldn't or won't refuse? Maybe. It is likely to assume that within 2 to 3 years, our systems will be deployed as general data, smart data management systems. That means that we'll be able to sell to customers who actually have no idea what AI is doing, but they do want to get the business insights out.
Right.
So it will take us probably 2 to 3 years more years to get there. But once we're doing that, I think that our TAM is immediately growing 100x.
Right.
Which is, the TAM is okay today, right? It's very solid TAM.
Right.
But it's kind of showing you how the opportunities are kind of endless.
Right. No, but I think even at high level, it's very in some ways it's easy to understand what you're doing, because the way to think about it is to do training, you have to label pictures, what pictures are, so computers can understand, okay, this is a nose, this is an ear, this is a this pixel means this or whatever. The more you're pre-processing it, the more you're making the labelers more effective, higher quality, cost effective, and then creating the management tools so that every data scientist, anyone creating an inference model, product manager, project managers, labelers, all those people being able to access all these images and store them and use them for the purpose of training, so that the models work well and we get better decisions, more accurate decisions, less biased decisions, all those things. You're really the infrastructure for enabling for AI to really be successful and democratize it in many places. So, and I love the fact, that even large and some of the leading tech companies, even those with trillion-dollar valuations, put aside their internal homegrown system and said, your system is better than what we can develop internally, and took you. That just shows the high quality and the great future that I think you guys have going forward. And the team is amazing. You've built a great team. And the passion, I think you mentioned that, and that is something that is really embedded inside Dataloop. And I know you're committed to building a great company and also build a great Israeli company that's diverse and representing all the various groups here. So thanks so much for coming. Thanks for all that you're doing. And thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for staying to the end. Be safe, be healthy, be happy, and hopefully you'll join us on our next edition as well on Meet the Founder. Thanks and have a good day.
Thank you.